Today, the president has launched Boda Boda investment scheme, and in his speech, the president took time to explain to the Boda Boda operators on their potential of in terms of the income that they generate in the country yearly, weekly, and the importance of saving. That is a point that the president has emphasized so much. And just to take me down on what the president was speaking today, the national chair, Boda Boda National Chair, Kevin Mubadi, is here with me, and I would just want to hear what he has to say about President's speech today. What do you make of that?
Okay, for real, it was a very good speech, and it was so encouraging for us as the youth of this country, as the Boda Boda riders, as people who have been always seen as people who doesn't make sense in this country. It is so humbling that the President of the Republic of Kenya came to sit with the Boda Boda riders, to be with them, share with them the information, and give them hope and courage that for him, himself, and his government, they are ready to support us when we come together and be one thing. And he is really supporting the road or the route that we have taken to ensure that we empower ourselves and we are not misused by the politicians or in any other way.
I don't know what now you have to tell the other Boda Boda operators in the country in terms of savings and what the president is saying, taking pride in what you do. And he's also talked about paying yourself first. What do you take of that? What do you make of that?
Okay, it is so encouraging. The president said you must pay yourself first, because for a very long time our members, they don't take care of themselves. They get a lot of money, but this money just gets wasted. But now the president had given us a direction that we must first of all pay ourselves. And in paying ourselves, what he means is save as much as you can. Whatever you can get today, save it. It's for yourself. It's not for anyone else. So that is the point that the president was driving home.
I do not know whether you are aware whether the whole country there are circles, Boda Boda circles. What would you give us in terms of statistics? Do you think that in the country, all counties, we have Boda Boda circles and a scheme of how Boda Boda operators save in various counties, not only in Nairobi?
Yeah, we have several schemes across the country, but they are not that much strong. That's why we are coming together to put all our savings together to be the giant that the government will be proud of.
What is your take home today?
My take home is that I'm very happy, and I want to appreciate all these officials from across the country for coming here today. The other thing I want to appreciate His Excellency Honorable Uhuru Kenyatta, the President of the Republic of Kenya, for recognizing and accepting our invite. As the people, meeting Boda Boda rider national leadership, it is not an easy thing to meet the president. But he took that initiative to come and meet us. I want to say this shows that the government has already respected us. So it is us to respect the government and the people we work in and support the government in anything that they do. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That is the national chair, Kevin Mubadi, breaking down on what his take-home is on today's meeting with the president, and he has emphasized on the need of Boda Boda riders coming together, saving together, because they are a powerhouse, as the president has indicated in his speech earlier today. From me here, Pumwani Social Hall, I take you back to KBC Broadcasting House. Jacky Wambiru, back to you.
Well, that was our reporter Beatrice Gatonye from Pumwani Social Hall discussing matters on the empowerment of Boda Boda operators across the country. Now, moving on, a General Member of Parliament, Sophia Abdi, has vowed to support the Building Bridges Initiative report following the proposal to increase the positions of women leadership. We shall be bringing you that report in a moment. Well, I'm being told to highlight on the issue whereby President Uhuru Kenyatta is still at Pumwani Social Hall, whereby earlier on he met with the National Boda Boda Safety Association. Now let's listen in. Moving on, Ijara Member of Parliament Sophia Abdi has vowed to support the Building Bridges Initiative report following the proposal to increase the positions of women in leadership. The legislator claimed the report, if adopted, will help the country attain an elusive two-thirds gender requirement. The report is also receiving similar accolades from a number of leaders across the country.
The contents of the Building Bridges Initiative Task Force report continue to draw mixed reactions across the country. Ijara MP Sophia Abdi has thrown her weight behind the report, terming it progressive and a big win for women. Speaking in Bodai area during a ceremony to celebrate its elevation to a sub-county, the MP says that the report, if adopted, will help the country attain the elusive two-thirds gender requirement.
We are ready as the people of Ijara to support BBI. We are ready to support 100%. The other thing is, Your Excellency, we want the unity of this country. And you standing and saying we want the unity of this country, the people of Ijara are supporting you for unity of this country.
This even as former Kibwezi legislator Kalembe Ndile says that the BBI is the solution for inclusive leadership.
Wanawake wamepata almost 100%. Kama unachagua Senate, unachagua mwanamke at county level aende Senate, na unachagua mwanaume at county level aende Senate. Kwa hivyo hapo wanawake wamecheza vizuri hapa, wamechezewa vizuri.
Meanwhile, Kajiado Governor Joseph Olelenku has hit out at politicians propagating divisive politics. He says he has reached out to security agencies to take action against those spewing hatred among Kenyans ahead of the 2022 general elections.
Baadhi ya wabunge wetu walioko viti sasa wamerudi tena kuchafua hali ya amani na uwiano ya watu wa Kajiado. Niwaambie watu wa Kajiado, hatutaruhusu mgawanyiko. Sawa, mimi niliwaahidi nitawaunganisha.
For Channel 1 News, I'm Safin Acheng Oma.
Well, still on BBI marches, let's head over to Sarovo Pan-African in Nairobi County, where a section of women leaders are deliberating matters of BBI. Now let's join our reporter Caroline Kamau for the details.
A very good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for joining us, Jackie. As you rightfully said, we are at Pan-African Hotel. I'm just from attending a press briefing by women leaders on the BBI report, a report that was presented to the President and Right Honourable Raila Odinga in Kisii earlier in the week. The official launch of that report will be on Monday. And of course, the encouragement from women leaders in the country is that all women and all Kenyans should read this report, understand the intricate details in it, and also understand what is it that the report has for each and every Kenyan. Today, however, I do have one of the leaders who was attending this press briefing, and it is none other than nominated Senator Gertrude Mr. who will be talking to us about her initial thoughts on the report and her assessment of the report. So, Gertrude, thank you so much for joining us. Let's start off with that, your initial assessment of the report.
Thank you, Carol, for coming also to cover the women leaders in this country. And concerning my initial assessment of the report, this report is a report that Kenyans were really waiting for, and it is a report that is going to help the entire country. And I want to continue, even as I continue, I want to thank the President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, together with the Right Honourable Raila Amolo Odinga, for the handshake and ensuring that they kept away any differences they had and decided to push on the BBI report, because the BBI report is going to sort out many issues that we've had as a country. And Carol, if you can remember, the many years we've had elections in this country, it has been after elections there's bloodshed. It has the winner takes it all and the loser just goes home. And the BBI report comes in to solve this issue, because even the losers will also have a take. And if losers are going to have a take, then it means that their followers will also be happy, because even when one is a loser, it doesn't mean that one doesn't have followers. So the BBI report is an all-inclusive report, which all women are happy about in Kenya, which also all Kenyans are happy about.
Ms. Rove, just talk to us about the gains, especially for women, that this report presents.
Kara, I want to say that the women are the greatest beneficiaries in this report. And you remember, Kara, there's a time when we were talking about the two-third gender rule, until even there are propositions to dissolve Parliament. But this report has come in to solve that, because when you look at the gains among the Senate, among the women, in the Senate alone, we have 50-50 representation. That is, we'll have one man from the county, one woman from the county. So that is a big gain.
What does that mean? What does that then mean?
Now, that means that women will have an equal vote as men, and they'll be able also to be involved in the revenue sharing issues. They'll be able also to put agendas that affect women in this country, issues of water. They'll be able to push for budgetary allocation to be more for the purpose of water. Now, remember, Constitution Article 43 talks about the socio-economic rights. So the women in the Senate will have a strong mandate and will have the powers to push the Article 43 of the Constitution. And remember, Article 43 affects women and children. When we talk about issues of water, it affects children. When we talk about issues of health, it affects women and children. When we're talking of schools and all that, all these articles, so the women will be able to ensure that more money is even allocated to counties. And when they go to counties, they'll also make a follow-up to ensure in the oversight role that the women issues and family issues are also addressed.
We also highlighted in the briefing, of course, the women leaders highlighted certain gaps that they have seen in this report. Just talk to us about that and how you hope these gaps can be addressed.
Now, the highlights that women talked about is losing the 47 women representatives. But when I analyze the report as a scholar, this has been captured in the Senate, because in the Senate we have 47. So the women representatives have been taken to the Senate. And then when you look at the National Assembly, we'll find that we have the single constituents, the 290. Women can go for that position. Then we have the 70, top positions that can be reserved for women. So I don't think there are any losses for women. They've been captured. So what I can say, Carol, if I can be candid with the report, in as much as I've read it, and I'm continuing to read it, and I'm also encouraging Kenyans to continue reading on their own, that when it comes to persons with disabilities, they're the great losers, because in the Senate position, there was a guarantee of nominated senators, one man, one woman, to represent persons with disabilities, but that has been taken away. But what I'm hoping, and I'm happy about this national conversation, that it will be addressed in the National Assembly. When we're talking about the 70 seats, now we have to lobby and see that we have a guarantee for persons with disabilities as well. So it is a national, conversation that we have started, and I'm happy about what the President did. I'm happy about what Right Honorable Raila did because they've ensured that we have the BBI, and the BBI is the way to go as Kenyans.
Finally, before I let you go, the women also raised a concern on the executive, and that the report is a bit silent as far as the women's place in the executive. Just quickly.
Yeah, exactly. The women position in the executive is silent, but I want to encourage my fellow women that this is a national conversation we are having, so we have the chance to actually follow with our male counterparts to ensure that we are all engaged in this process. So I don't think women should lose heart, but we should continue the conversation, because with the conversation things will be clear. And I'm hoping that with the conversation, women will also have a portion to take in the executive, and also the persons with disabilities and women will also be involved in decision making table, so that we have them. If we don't have them in the Senate, let us also have them in the National Assembly. Let us also have them as deputy governors. So that is what my plea is, that we have to be sensitive about persons with disabilities, because BBI is an all-inclusive process. And if it is an all-inclusive process, it cannot be fully inclusive if persons with disabilities are not in the decision-making table.
Yeah, Mr. Rove, I'll let you go. Thank you so much for your time. We'll certainly continue with this conversation. Thank you. All right. So that is Gertrude Musuruve, nominated senator, talking to us about her thoughts on the BBI. And of course, she is insisting that we need to read for ourselves. As Kenyans, you need to read this document so that you understand exactly what is contained in this document ahead, of course, of that launch on Monday. Back to you in studio. Much more on this story and what the place of women is in this document in our subsequent bulletins. Back to you, Wambiru.
Well, that was our reporter Caroline Kamau calving live from the Pan-African Hotel, where a section of women leaders are deliberating matters of BBI report that was released Wednesday. Now, moving on, health workers in Migori County are threatening to strike due to delayed payment of their September salaries. Now, through their union, the medics have given the county government until Friday next week to release their salaries, failure to which they will down their tools.
Led by their Secretary General Peter Jaoko, the health workers said they have never experienced such delays and have always received their salaries on time.
Our fellow workers have never experienced what we are going through today. I think Migori County is one of the counties that has never paraded for the delay of salaries. We have house rents to pay. We have fare to pay when going to work. And we are kindly asking whoever is sitting on that money of Migori County that kindly can you release our money. We have committed no sin.
I think that salaries be paid immediately by 23rd of October, which is tomorrow Friday. Failure to comply, we'll have no alternative but to call the workers to go and parade at the county headquarters for their salaries of September. We also demand that salaries for October should be paid not later than, should be paid and must be paid not later than 5th of November.
The union chairperson Charles Opio alleging that officials in the National Treasury is out to paralyze the county. The officials said that if they do not get salaries by end of Friday, no workers will be allowed to report on duty on Monday, including health workers.
Tunaomba kesho Friday, kesho Ijumaa kwa Kiswahili, kwamba ikikosha kuonekana kama mfanyakazi hata haona mshahara yake kwa account. Ikipofika Monday ambaye ni Jumatatu, kila mfanyakazi ambaye tarehe 26 mfanyakazi lolote afuate kamili moja kwa moja, tutaenda kwa ofisi ya county government kuuliza haki ya mfanyakazi ambaye ni.
For Channel 1 News, I am Emily K. Badi.
And away from that, a non-governmental organization in Bungoma has launched a sensitization campaign to help reduce cases of teenage pregnancies in the area. The organization, by the name Arsha Hershey, has been meeting secondary school students and truck drivers who are often blamed for the vice to inform them on its negative effects.
Tuko hapa na wasichana na wavulana ambao tumeendelea kuwapatia mentorship, training na program throughout the year tangu tupatikane na hili janga la corona. Kwa hivyo leo tuko hapa pia ku hand over them to the community kwamba tumewatrain and they are now trainers, wanaweza enda na watrain youth wenzao jinsi ya kuishi vizuri kama watoto vijana. Tena tukiwa hapa kuna watoto ambao sasa tunaachilia waende shule. Hatungeacha tu waende shule kama hatujakuja kuwaongelesha kwa sababu tumekuwa nao kwa mentorship program.
Kama wizara ya gender katika jimbo la Bungoma County, tuko tayari sana kufanya kazi pamoja naye jinsi tumefanya hapa awali, na wakati ambao yeye anatuletea graduates wake 500 ambao watakuwa trainers ya youths wenzao. So as a county government ministry of gender, tuko tayari sana kuabsorb hicho kikundi cha wanafunzi ambao tutawashirikisha pia kuhakikisha kwamba wazo hili lake nzuri inajengwa.
Now, residents of Kiptaldal ward in Kericho County have taken to the streets to protest the poor state of Tapshiargoi Kiptaldal Kaptaga Road. The residents are pointing an accusing finger at unscrupulous individuals for siphoning 6.7 million shillings meant to repair the dilapidated road.
With only less than 2 kilometers being constructed recently, despite being mentioned severally in public participation for construction, and the county government of Kericho giving allocation of Kenya shillings 6.7 million for road opening, grading, and maraming, that the residents of these villages have suffered broken limbs and arms, transportation difficulties of farm inputs and produce in and out of these villages, children facing difficulty in gaining access to the following schools: Kiptaldal Primary School, Eden Academy, Arise and Shine Academy, and Cheripo Secondary School. Transport services have extensively impacted negatively on expectant mothers, elderly, and the sick people, often compelling the relatives to turn to unorthodox, dishonorable, and risky methods of getting them to hospital, particularly during the rainy season.
Tunapokea kila malalamishi, alafu watu wapatiwe mwelekeo mzuri kuhusu jambo fulani wanahitaji. Pesa imepotea, ni porojo tu na hiyo mambo ya siasa ya watu, ati angalau hiyo barabara pesa imeenda wapi? Kama watu wangekuwa na shida, wangekuja kwa ofisi waulize kutoka department ya roads.
Now, in other news, the Intergovernmental Relations Technical Committee has embarked on an exercise to define functions of both levels of government in managing the water sector. This comes following endless power struggles between the national and county governments in implementation of water projects.
Speaking at a forum to chart the way forward, the Intergovernmental Technical Committee Acting Chair John Burugu urged stakeholders in the water sector to have an open conversation on all the issues affecting the implementation of the water function with a view to draft tangible solutions.
For us as IGRTC is to ensure we cultivate harmonious relationship in the implementation of this function. And therefore, we have brought this team together so that they can tell us where the conflicts arise from.
He pointed out that the technical committee, through the support of the Water Millennium Alliance, tasked a consultant to visit and support all counties to enhance service delivery in the water sector.
We now have identified a consultant who will be able to work with all the county governments and the national government and delineate the function, including the concurrent areas where we need to be able to indicate where the national government reaches and then the county government.
Function ambayo tunafanya kama committee ni kuanalyze na ile tunaita delineation, yani tuangalie na tukubaliane county nyinyi mtafika wapi na national government mtafika wapi ili tuondoe duplication.
Alignment of activities is very important. If the county government is doing their own things, Northern Water doing their own things and other agencies, this is actually gives to a lot of duplication, and probably with not very good organization of services, we might not be doing justice to our own. We say Wanjiko na Siku, we might not be giving them the right to access of the resource we are all looking into.
The meeting, which brought together representatives from the Millennium Water Alliance, Ministry of Water and Sanitation, IGRTC, Council of Governors, Water CECs, and other consultants, provided a platform to discuss functional analysis, review and transfer in the water sector, as well as the conflicts between the two levels of government in the implementation of the water function. For Channel 1 News, I'm Safin Acheng Ouma.
Members of the public and civil society have been called upon to intensify advocacy on the need for pastoralist women to get an equal chance to own and use land. Speaking during the 5th edition of the annual Indigenous Women National Conference that kicked off in Isiolo County, the Executive Director, Samburu Women Trust, Jane Naini Meriwas, said there is need to empower women in marginalized communities to own property.
Discriminatory cultural attitudes and effective implementation of the law have been cited as major barriers which prevent women in marginalized areas access, control, and use of land. Those attending the 5th edition of the annual Indigenous Women National Conference in Isiolo that brought together representatives of women from indigenous communities in 14 pastoralist counties claimed women in such areas have been marginalized for long and it was time they stand to be counted. The Executive Director, Samburu Women Trust, Jane Naini Merwa, said that the theme of this year's conference is land tenure rights for women and protection of unregistered community land in the framework of Community Land Act of 2016 and is based on the desire to grant women equal rights to own land and other properties.
Theme ya hii mwaka ni kwamba tunaongelea kuhusu mambo ya ardhi, sana sana tukipea kipao mbele kuhusu wamama. Wamama tukiongea mambo ya ardhi wanamiliki vipi hasa katika jamii ya wafugaji.
Mary was noted that members of the public have not been taken through adequate civic education regarding the Community Land Act of 2016, hence remaining in darkness over its contents.
Jamii hamasishwa kufanyiwa civic education ama kuparticipate kujua ni nini inaendelea. Pia information uko kwa ground iko very limited. Hawajui kama hiyo act inasema nini. Na hata kama act iko hakuna mtu anawaambia.
Na wasihi wa mama popote wanapoenda wakisikia mkutano ya ardhi juu ya ardhi inafanyika waende na sauti zao zisikike kwa sababu sauti zao ni muhimu na bila wamama kujishughulisha hakuna mwenye atawaita awape ardhi.
The director argued that despite some communities organizing themselves to comply, their respective counties do not have a land registry and are therefore forced to look for services in Nairobi.
Na pia shida yenye iliyoko sana ni kwamba hata hizi land registry yenye supposed kuwa within the county, kuna county yenye haziko. Pia inakuwa changamoto kwa sababu community hata kama wamekuwa organized lazima wasafiri waende mpaka Nairobi kusubmit kwa Ministry of Land. Unajua pia inakuwa changamoto kwa community.
Through the conference, women from pastoralist backgrounds have also been encouraged to take up elective positions during the 2022 general elections instead of depending on nomination slots which end up not being sufficient to give them a voice.
Go for this elective post. It's not easy. It's not a walkover. Even those women who are already there, it's not easy. If you follow it very keenly in the social media, anything they pick, despite the fact that they are the best in Kenya, but men, they don't want to accept that. You always see a lot of negative things that they are always posting to them.
For Channel 1 News, I am Emily K. Bade.
On that note, we take a break. Well, don't go too far. There is much more ahead.
Eight-time CAF Champions League winners Al Ahly of Egypt inched closer to qualifying for the finals of the prestigious cup when they humbled twice champions Wydad Casablanca by 2-0 in the first leg semi-final encounter played last Saturday in Morocco.
You've got to be careful. Oh, it's an easy chance. This is one-on-one with the goalkeeper. It's in the back of the net. There's your goal. To make it 2-0 for Ali Malul. He slots it in, blasts into the corner.
This Friday, the 23rd of October 2020, Al Ahly hosts Wydad in the second leg semi-final clash. The match kicks off at 10 p.m. Catch the action live on KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner. Eight-time CAF Champions League winners Al Ahly of Egypt inched closer to qualifying for the finals of the prestigious cup when they humbled twice champions Wydad Casablanca by 2-0 in the first leg semi-final encounter played last Saturday in Morocco.
You've got to be careful. Oh, it's an easy chance. This is one-on-one with the goalkeeper. It's in the back of the net. There's your goal. To make it 2-0 for Ali Malul. He slots it in, blasts into the corner.
This Friday, the 23rd of October 2020, Al Ahly hosts Wydad in the second leg semi-final clash. The match kicks off at 10 p.m. Catch the action live on KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
Welcome back. Now, Narok County government has pledged to clear fee balances for candidates sitting for their final examinations in the county. Narok County Governor Samuel Tunai says his government will disburse 50 million shillings to MCAs as bursaries for Form 4 students. He appealed to parents with children in Grade 4 Class 8 and Form 4 to allow them to report back to school for second term as per the Ministry of Education directive. He says this will allow them to prepare for the final examinations.
Ya kwamba kama watu ya kaunti hii, kama watu ya Sitoka, watoto wote warudi shule. Vile imesemekana. Watoto wote warudi shule. Na vile nilisema kwa wale sasa wako Form 4. Mungu akijalia next week nitatoa pesa pengine milioni 30 ama 50 nipatia wa MCS kuhakikisha wale watoto wako Form 4 wote walipiwe ili watoto waendelee kusoma vile imesemekana. So tunataka watoto warudi shule na wasome. Ninajua kuna changamoto ya FGM, kuna changamoto ya early marriages, kuna changamoto ya wale watoto ya ambaye wanatoka pia kwa shule. Tungetoka tu kuambia wazazi ya kwamba watoto wakiwa nyumbani waangalie hawa vizuri. Hatutaki mtoto yote apate mimba wakati yako nyumbani ama kufanywa vitu vingine ambaye haifai.
A number of widows, the elderly and orphans in Ombei village, Kisumu County, have benefited from donations from well wishers to cushion them from the COVID-19 pandemic. The ongoing program carried out by community healthcare volunteers under the Widows Harvest International has reached well over 1,500 beneficiaries in parts of Nyando and Muhoroni constituencies.
We found the community health volunteers gathered at a church next to the Widows Harvest International offices in Ombei Village, Muhoroni sub-county. This is the daily routine before they dispatched various places across Muhoroni and parts of Nyando sub-county to literally harvest widows, the elderly and orphans into their program. They say the prevailing COVID-19 pandemic has made things worse and there is need for the government and other non-state actors to chip in and help the most vulnerable in the society.
During this pandemic, actually from February, it has been so bad and so hard economically to some widows. In fact, we have reached so many that are bedridden. Right now, there are about 5 widows that we take food to them. We cook food and take to them. And then you take to them and you reach there, they cannot take the food into their mouth because they are so sick.
So the problem we have so far is the distances of where those widows are and how we can take them to the hospital.
Tunapoenda kwa mitaa ama kwa maboma kushughulikia wajane na wale ambao wajiwezi, usaidizi sana ambao wako nao ama ugumu wako nao ni kutojiweza, hawajiwezi. maana tunapoenda unaweza enda uko na dawa na inabidi uende umshughulikie juu labda mtu wa kumpea dawa hapatikani kwa saa ambayo inafaa apewe dawa. Sasa tunaenda tunawapea madawa, tunawapelekea chakula, hasa kama wale ambao wazazi wakubwa wangu wamesema wale ambao hawawezi kujilisha, tunakuchukua jukumu ya kuwalisha. Hasa ugumu ni ile hali ya kuwafikia na jinsi pia ya kujimudu kimaisha.
Besides food donations, the group also builds houses for the less fortunate and assists them access Medicare in health institutions.
And unfortunately, the problem we had this time is that they fear going to the hospital because they say, no, let me die here because when I go to the hospital, I'll get COVID. And so that is a big challenge.
Achola Simon for Channel 1 Lunchtime News.
U.S. President Donald Trump and Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden clashed over COVID-19 and race during their final TV debate ahead of the polls. The two also traded corruption charges, with Trump alleging Biden personally profited from his son's business dealings, while Biden cited Trump's opaque taxes. The 1.5-hour debate saw them face off on 6 separate topics. The final TV debate was held at Belmont University in Nashville, Tennessee, with a focus on COVID-19, American families, race in America, climate change, national security and leadership. U.S. President Donald Trump and Joe Biden clashed over Trump's handling of the pandemic, with Biden citing he would not roll out more lockdowns, while Trump insisted it was time to reopen the U.S.
We closed up the greatest economy in the world in order to fight this horrible disease that came from China. It's a worldwide pandemic. It's all over the world. You see the spikes in Europe and many other places right now. If you notice, the mortality rate is down 85%. The excess mortality rate is way down and much lower than almost any other country. And we're fighting it, and we're fighting it hard. And we have a vaccine that's coming. It's ready. It's going to be announced within weeks, and it's going to be delivered. And as I say, we're rounding the turn, we're rounding the corner. It's going away.
What I would say is I'm going to shut down the virus, not the country. It's his ineptitude that caused the country to have to shut down in large part. Why businesses have gone under, why schools are closed, why so many people have lost their living, and why they're concerned. Those other concerns are real. That's why he should have been, instead of in a sand trap at his golf course, he should have been negotiating with Nancy Pelosi and the rest of the Democrats and Republicans about what to do about the acts they were passing for billions of dollars to make sure people had the capacity.
But you haven't ruled out more shutdowns.
Oh, well, no, I'm not shutting down the name, but there are, look, you need standards. The standard is if you have a reproduction rate in a community that's above a certain level, everybody says, slow up.
During a back and forth on race relations, Trump said he was the least racist person in the room, while Biden argued Trump was one of the most racist presidents in modern history. Trump brought up purported leaked emails from Biden's son Hunter on his business dealings in China.
And he didn't have a job. As soon as he became vice president, Burisma, not the best reputation in the world. I hear they paid him $183,000 a month.
No basis for that. Everybody investigated that. No one said anything he did was wrong in Ukraine. The only guy who made money from China is this guy. He's the only one. Nobody else has made money from China.
Biden described climate change as an existential threat to humanity and attacked Trump for cutting curbs on polluters. Trump defended his decision to pull out of the Paris Climate Accord, saying he would not sacrifice tens of millions of jobs, thousands of companies for the agreement. Both candidates accused the other of unfulfilled promises while in office. Biden took his opponent to task for his pledges to come up with a health care plan to replace Obama's Affordable Care Act.
If we don't win, we will have to run it, and we'll have Obamacare, but it'll be better run. But it no longer is Obamacare, because without the individual mandate, it's much different. Pre-existing conditions will always stay. What I would like to do is a much better health care, much better, will always protect people with pre-existing. So I'd like to terminate Obamacare, come up with a brand new, beautiful health care.
And the Biden care proposal will, in fact, provide for that affordable health care, lower premiums. What we're going to do is going to cost some money. It's going to cost over $750 billion over 10 years to do it. And they're going to have lower premiums. You can buy into the better plans. The difference between the president, I think health care is not a privilege, it's a right. Everyone should have the right to have affordable health care.
The debate was less acrimonious and more substantive with the pair's previous showdown on 29 September. Biden has a solid lead with 11 days to go until the presidential election. But winning the most votes does not always win the election, and the margin is narrower in a handful of states that could decide the race either way. More than 47 million people have already cast their ballots in a voting surge driven by the pandemic. This is already more than those who voted before polling day in the 2016 election. There are about 230 million eligible voters in total. The poll is set for November 3rd.
Well, now let's talk business, where tea exports fell by 14,000 tons in the first 8 months of this year due to a drop in demand from traditional markets. Data from the Tea Directorate shows export volumes for Kenyan tea for the period between January to August dropped from 337,000 tons in 2019 to 323,000 tons in 2020.
The global tea market size was valued at $55 billion in 2019 and is projected to reach $69 billion in 7 years' time. The sector is expected to register an annualized growth rate of 6.6% from 2020 to 2027. However, the industry is expected to register less growth this year, occasioned by the COVID-19 pandemic, which has depressed demand in world consumption markets. The effect is now being felt in Kenya, where export volumes dropped by 14,000 tons in the first 8 months of this year. Data from the Tea Directorate shows that the drop was as a result of 7% drop in exports to Pakistan and a 14% drop in exports to Egypt, the country's top 2 buyers of the produce. Pakistan remains Kenya's largest market, shipping about 36% of the total production. Kenya is the world's leading producer and exporter of black tea, and it has been diversifying to green and purple tea that fetches premium returns on the global market. Despite the fall in export volumes, production in the 8 months grew by 33% to stand at 375,000 tons against 281,000 tons in the same period in 2019. Earnings from black tea export increased by 22% in half year 1 of 2020 to hit 69 billion shillings compared to 56.5 billion shillings for the same period last year. The Directorate expects a slight improvement in exports going forward as the world recovers from the pandemic. O'Brien Kimani for Lunchtime Business News.
And away from that, Elwak residents in Mandera County are decrying loss of business and livelihoods due to the frequent power outages. Now, the residents are pointing an accusing finger at Kenya Power for failing to boost the area's power capacity despite the ever-growing power demand in the region.
Data shows that at least 25% of the Kenyan population who live without electricity access dwell in remote, rural and peri-urban areas of the country where infrastructure is still subpar. However, the residents of Elwak, despite having the infrastructure, say they are not benefiting.
Sasa sisi kama wakazi wa Elwak, we have been suffering under silence for the past 3 years. We have been experiencing power outage for the past 3 years.
A visit to various small businesses that rely on electricity in the town paints a picture of lost revenue and livelihoods at a time when the country is battling a pandemic.
Hatari kwa stima kwa kazi ni kwa kuwa tupati kazi, sengine tunakata wiki moja hakuna stima. Alafu pia ukienda nyumbani pia unakosa stima jioni. Kwa hivyo tunaomba mtusaidie sana. Kuelewa kuna shida sana.
Sisi wenyewe tumefutwa kazi. Na tukifutwa kazi, sisi wenyewe hatuna kazi. Mimi nimetoka Embu County, nimekuja maeneo ya Elwak kufanya kazi huku, na shida kubwa ni stima.
The residents now want Kenya Power to procure a high-efficient generator to cater for their needs and to do away with regular rationing, adding that the power utility firm needs to be more responsible and find ways to regulate electricity.
Lakini mpaka saa hizi ile generator ambayo tulikuwa tunangojea ambayo ililipwa tenda sijui ilipotelea wapi. Nataka hiyo tenda ziharakishwe na ile mwenye amepata hiyo kandarasi lazima alete hiyo generator vile ilikuwa.
Mwana negotiate hivyo hivyo tu. Sasa watu wa kampuni ya sitima tunataka abadilishe zile vile sahi nafanya mashini, alete mashini mazuri.
Mandera County is not connected to the national grid but generates electricity through diesel generators. Alanaoko, Channel 1 Business.
Multinational investment bank and financial services company Goldman Sachs has agreed to pay nearly $3 billion to end a probe of its role in the IMDb corruption scandal. Now, the bank's Malaysian subsidiary also admitted in U.S. court that it had paid more than $1 billion in bribes to win work raising money for the Malaysian state-owned wealth fund. Details of these and other stories in our global business roundup.
United States officials say the record settlement reflected Goldman's central role in a massive corruption scheme. Goldman admitted it had fallen short, calling it an institutional failure. In all, the investment bank is due to pay about $5 billion in penalties, about 2/3 of its 2019 profits, to regulators around the world, including in the UK, to resolve cases that have severely tarnished the firm's reputation. Goldman's board said it will recoup or withhold $174 million in compensation awarded to executives, including retired boss Lloyd Blankfein, under whose watch the scandal happened. Elsewhere, Chinese phone maker Huawei said it was doing its best to survive and forge forward despite the US sanctions. Huawei is one of a handful of Chinese tech firms targeted by Donald Trump on the grounds of national security. The phone maker had been busy stockpiling its supply of microchips before a US trade ban came into effect in September. On Friday, it said its revenues for the first 3 quarters of 2020 were 9.9% higher than the same period last year. But Huawei said its ability to find component parts such as microchips has been put under intense pressure, and its production and operations saw increasing difficulties. Disruptions in manufacturing caused by COVID-19 were also to blame. Meanwhile, British retail sales have continued to increase for the 5th consecutive month, boosted by non-food items including DIY and garden supplies, according to the official figures. The Office for National Statistics said retail sales volumes rose by 1.5% between August and September. Spending on groceries remained high, but petrol sales were still down as motorists made fewer journeys. Sales are now 5.5% higher than the pre-pandemic level seen in February. The 3 months to September saw the biggest quarterly increase on record, as a retail sales volume increased by 17.4% when compared with the previous 3 months.
And in the sports arena, Nigerian midfielder John Ogu has called on his teammates to boycott upcoming matches in protest at the country's government. Ogu, who has 26 caps, said a boycott would make a statement. On Tuesday, Manchester United forward Odion Ighalo called his country's government a shame to the world. There have been weeks of protests in Nigeria, with mostly young people demanding the disbandment of a notorious police unit, the Special Anti-Robbery Squad. Now, Nigeria's army has denied killing demonstrators, and the country's president, Muhammadu Buhari, has urged protesters to stop demonstrating and engage with the government. England internationals James Maddison and Harvey Barnes scored their first European goals at Leicester City, marked their return to continental action with a comfortable 3-0 home win over Zorya Luhansk. Meanwhile, Arsenal manager Mikel Arteta says there is more to come from Thomas Partey after the midfielder's superb full debut in the 2-1 Europa League win at Rapid Vienna.
Ukrainian visitors Zoria had their moments in the opening stages, and Kasper Schmeichel was called into serious action with the score at 0-0. Barnes called the shot against the post, and when Kelechi Iheanacho flicked the loose ball out, Maddison had a simple finish. Barnes then ran through the heart of the Zoria defense to clip in a second, and Iheanacho took advantage of a defensive lapse to score the third. Meanwhile, Neil Lennon says he was encouraged despite his Celtic side being trounced by Serie A leaders AC Milan in their Europa Group stage opener in Glasgow. Lennon's men rallied after 2 half-time changes, with Substitute Mohamed El-Younous's header giving the Scottish champions hope before Jens Peter scored late on to secure the win for the Rossoneri. Elsewhere, Arsenal boss Mikel Arteta says there is more to come from Thomas Partey after the midfielder's superb full debut in the 2-1 Europa League win at Rapid Vienna. David Luiz and Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang scored 2 goals in 5 second-half minutes after a Bernard Leno mystic had gifted Takshia Kish Fontas the opener to ensure the Gunners began Group B with a victory. In other matches, AS Roma defeated Young Boys 2-1, Hapoel Beersheva trounced Slavia Praha 3-1, PSV Eindhoven lost 2-1 to Granada, while Ludogorets lost 2-1 to Royal Antwerp.
Well, that brings us to the end of our bulletin this afternoon. We shall have more news in our subsequent bulletins at 7 p.m. and 9 p.m. You can also check our website at kbc.co.k for more news. Well, remember to adhere to government's directive to curb the spread of coronavirus. My name is Jacky Wambiru. Our sign language interpreter was Simon Karutha. Have a lovely afternoon.
Vera Beauty College.
Vera Beauty and Fashion College, with branches in Nairobi, Eldoret, Thika, and Meru. Did you know that we are a TVET-approved institution? We offer courses in fashion design, interior design in soft furnishing, event decoration, flower arrangement, event planning, hairdressing, barbering and dreadlocks, beauty therapy, makeup, nail technology, spa massages, teaching skills, TOT, solo business management, and many more. Register now and visit our website on www.verabeautycollege.com. You can also call on 0725 923 550 Nairobi branch, 0728 087 689 Eldoret branch, 0722 22 7428 Thika branch, 0725 000 706 Meru branch. Vera Beauty and Fashion College, a TVET approved institution.
Tonight on KBC Channel 1.
Do I look like a murderer?
No one does. But on this, I choose to judge the cover.
Kama mmoja ashajaribu kukubai. Money solves everything. Money buys you options, which in turn buys you freedom. But you wouldn't know that, right?
Mimi nakuaga na heshima sana, so hawezi nibai.
If we do have the facts, you will confront her.
What if those facts show that your dad is involved?
Don't forget why I brought you here. And still you haven't brought me anything useful.
You do not save Glenn. Glenn is under your wings. But you see, what I don't understand is why you're so scared that he's going to say something. And even if he does, what's this?
Welcome to the city of sin.
This weekend on KBC Channel 1.
Yes, teacher. Farah, go ahead. What are you talking about?
Yes, what are you talking about?
No, what are you talking about?
And that is what you want to know.
Of course, that is what I don't know. Mr. Teacher, I would never do that unless you put me to the war. Su casa es mi casa.
Are you kidding me?
Why would my mother be dropping Farah and yet she's no longer living?
Genji, I couldn't remember this woman. Kumbe she is your mother.
Mr. Teacher, I think you will have to excuse me. I will be back in 1 minute. I will be back.
The procedure of reporting assets to Unclaimed Financial Assets Authority. Write an email to holders at ufaa.go.ke to request your profile to be created. Unclaimed Financial Assets Authority. Receive, safeguard, reunite. Tonight on KBC Channel 1.
Pesa zote zake.
Ni maskini. Kasichana kakuja na mama, wakaenda milele. Kakabeba kila kitu kakabakia. Ni payo. Nikulae chona kademka mlaoni.
Do I look like a murderer? No one does. But on this, I choose to judge the cover.
Kama mmoja ashajaribu kukubai.
We all love a good trip down memory lane, and all it takes is for us to evoke the memory with these exciting matches that remind you of the good times as we look forward for more memorable moments.
The most striking feature of Sanchez's play has been his ability to score in the most acrobatic fashion, a skill no doubt inherited from a family of gymnasts.
Watch these epic matches every Saturday late afternoon, only on KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
Really gets past the first challenge, and the keeper really made a hash of that.
There is much more in store for you this weekend.
Kenya. So before we start, maybe those who have missed some of the information we have been giving, those who have been attending our lessons, is to remind you about social studies. Like I've said previously, social studies is about you and your environment. If you start thinking like that, then you'll be able to be relating whatever you are studying with what is happening around you and in the world. All right? When you see a news something on the TV, on the radio, then you're going to associate those things with social studies. It is very good to associate this with whatever is happening with social studies. This will enable you to be understanding. As you read a question, you understand, oh, this one is like this one is like this. All right? Then you should be able to master the topics. For example, today's topic is on the government of Kenya. When you're revising, you should be able to understand something about the government of Kenya. Master something, okay? Don't just read for the sake of reading. At least understand when you hear the news, whatever is happening, relate it with social studies about the government of Kenya. When you're reading a question, understand the question before you attempt it, okay? Don't just read a question, then go straight to the answers. Understand the question first before you attempt it, and then I keep on reminding you this, identify the keywords, okay? Always identify the keywords in a question. That is very important. Then go to the choices, eliminate the wrong ones. To eliminate means go through each choice, say this one is right, this one is wrong, this one is right, like that, okay? That is eliminating. This one is true, this one is false. Those kind of things are eliminating. Then make the correct judgment for your answer, okay? I hope you have understood what I'm trying to tell you. Social studies is simple. If you associate it with what is happening around your world, and then understanding the topics, eliminating the choices,
getting your answer. So we go to the first question, today's question. In Kenya, parliamentary elections results can be nullified only by, okay? In Kenya, parliamentary election results can be nullified only by, the choices are there. So in full now, in Kenya, parliamentary elections results can be nullified only by A, the National Assembly, B, the returning officer, D, the High Court, and D, the Cabinet. Right? So that is our question. So as always, you go back to the question and then identify the key words. Okay? So what is the question asking you? So Kenya parliamentary elections. All right? Either general elections or by-elections. Then results. Then nullified. And then only. Those are the key words before you start attempting the question. So we're going to look at these words. What do they mean? Okay? To nullify is to cancel. Okay? So next time you see the word nullify, it means cancel. That means in this case, the person who has been elected an MP no longer becomes an MP. His results have been cancelled, so they go back to election. That's what it means by nullify. All right? So the question is testing you on how one may lose a parliamentary seat in Kenya. I'm sure you've learned this. So how does a person stop being an MP after the election? Something happens, all right? Something happens for them to stop being MPs. So who is going to stop this, all right? So that is the question. Who is going to make this one to be not an MP? So A, the National Assembly, okay? So we are saying that this one is false, it's not true, because the National Assembly's work is to make laws and amend laws. They don't nullify elections, all right? So that one is wrong. B, the returning officer, all right? You have learned about election, returning officer. So this one is also wrong. We are saying it is false. Why are we saying this? Because the returning officer is an employee of the IEBC. Remember IEBC? Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. So his work is to conduct elections, announce who has won, and then that is the end of his work, right? He prepares the elections, he conducts it, people vote, they count, he's in charge of all this, then he announces so and so has won the election. Kazi yake imekuishia hapo. Sawa? All right. So the High Court, choice C. So we are saying this is the answer to the question. Why are we saying this is the answer? A person in Kenya stops becoming an MP when a person takes a case to the court, all right? And then this person who is an MP has been imprisoned for 6 months or more, all right? If you are an MP, you stop becoming an MP after that. If the MP is declared bankrupt by a court of law, remember it is a court of law, not anybody. Bankrupt means you can no longer conduct business, you don't have money. So you cannot do that. It is illegal to be bankrupt and you are an MP at the same time. The third one, if the member of the MP now committed an election offense that has been proven where? In a court of law. Right? So you see all these things are revolving in court of law. Not just people walking around and saying, well, it's your MP, Sasa, you are stop becoming an MP. It has to be a process, all right, which is in a court of law. Then D, the cabinet. Does the cabinet nullify elections? No. Cabinet's work is to make government policies, all right, the plans. They don't have anything to, they don't nullify election. It is not their work. So you go to our question again. Remember the key words. In Kenya, parliamentary election results can be nullified only by, our answer now should be the High Court. All right, remember that process? So High Court will nullify your election if you are an MP. Question 2. The President of Kenya appoints all the following people except. The President of Kenya appoints all the following people except the Cabinet Secretaries, the Attorney General, the Chief Justice, and the last one, the Speaker of the National Assembly. Right? So he appoints all of them except one. So we go to our keywords. President of Kenya. Doing what? Appointing somebody except. All right? So you need to internalize this information, understand it. So we know the President of Kenya. Okay? So appointing, what does it mean? To appoint means you name. You say so and so, you are the Cabinet Secretary. So and so, you will be the Attorney General. So like that. Okay? So it means you name and you choose and the person starts working. Except. In the question, we have the word except. Except means all but one. Right? So it only means one of the three is not appointed by the President of Kenya. So you have said except. So three of them are appointed except one. Right? So except means all but one. So the question is testing you on the functions of the President of Kenya. You have learned this one, right? So what powers does the President have? Are there some people he cannot nominate or maybe appoint? Right? So that is the question which is being asked. The President does not appoint everybody. Right? There are some people he does not have powers to appoint. So, in our explanation, A, B, and C, that is the Cabinet Secretaries, the Attorney General, the Chief Justice are people appointed by the President. All right? So what happens? The President chooses or nominates them, right? And then he takes their names to the Parliament. So the Parliament is going to be interviewing them, asking them questions, and then they will say, this one is not right, this one is right, is the right person for the job, this one is not right for the job. So once they have done that, it is called vetting, okay? That interview, asking questions, all this. So now they say, so and so is right, so and so is right, so and so is right. So the list is taken to the President, and now the President will now officially appoint them, right? Appoint them now as whoever they are, the Attorney General, the Cabinet Secretaries, and then they start doing their work. So we are saying choice D is the answer to our question. The President does not appoint the Speaker of the National Assembly. This one is elected by MPs. Okay? The first business MPs do when they go to Parliament is elect the Speaker. Even in the Senate, the senators, they also elect their Speaker. So, therefore the President does not appoint the Speaker of the National Assembly will be our answer. So once you have reasoned like that, you go back to your question, the keywords you have underlined, you have said accept, and then accept that one. So if you, it's a process of reasoning. Just do this as you practice doing your paper. 3. Question 3. Which of the following is not a responsibility of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission? Which one of the following is not a responsibility of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission? Right? You have studied that, what we call IEBC. IEBC, I'm sure you've heard that. A, receive nomination papers from candidates. B, appoint election officials. C, fixing constituency boundaries. And D, approve political parties officials. So which one is not their work? That is simple. Which one is not their work? What don't they do? So the keywords are not, remember not all the time, a responsibility, and then Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, right? So not in a question will always mean what? Incorrect or not true. Then, like I said before, a responsibility is a duty that somebody must do. So which one is a responsibility, which one is not over the IEBC? So IEBC, or the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, this one is the one in charge of organizing elections. That is one. And then two, it is also in charge of reviewing the names and boundaries of constituencies. So once you've reasoned like that, obviously now you have come up with the answer to the question. All right? You have talked of organizing elections and then reviewing the names and then boundaries of constituencies. They are the ones in charge of this. They give this constituency a name, right? They say this constituency reaches here and there. Nobody else does that work, right? So the question, like I've said, is testing on the functions of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. What is their work? So A, receiving nomination papers from candidates. This one is true. So before elections, those who want to be MPs, MCA, presidents, senators, governors, they must present their papers. They say tunataka kuchaguliwa tukue viongozi. So they check their papers, they say aenda ukasimame fanya campaign, all these things, right? B, appoint elections officials. This one is true because IEBC, or the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, before elections, they choose some people to go and conduct the elections. And the people are returning officers, okay, presiding officers, and the polling clerks. All those people who are working during elections, that they are appointed. And then D, not DC, fixing constituency boundaries, okay. Remember we said that is one of their work, so it is true. And then D, approve political parties officials. This one is false because that is not their work. The IEBC is not concerned with political parties and officials and the elections, what they are doing there. That is their business. If you have political parties officials, they are approved by other government bodies. They check their names there, they are approved. All this, that is not the work of IEBC, okay? So, we go to our question, which of the following is not a responsibility of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission? Okay, commonly known as IEBC. You have heard this one. So, approve political parties officials. That is not their work, all right? Question 4. 3 of the following statements are true about the Constitution of Kenya. Which one is not? Okay? 3 are true, 1 is not true. A, it states the powers and functions of the government. Okay? B, it puts together the rules governing the country. C, it outlines the structure of the government. Okay? And D, it is a document that contains all laws made by the parliament. So read again on your own carefully. They are long statements. You need to think about them. The keywords, as usual, are 3. True. Constitution of Kenya. 1 is not. So all these are the keywords which you should underline as you are doing your revision, as you think about the question. All right? So 3 are true, 1 is not. So, like I've said, when you hear 3, it means 3 of the options are true. All right? True means it is a reality. It is a fact. And the statement is accurate. But 1 is not correct. Have you understood that? So 3, when you say true, it means it is a fact, right? You cannot change it. It is a reality, and then it is accurate. So the question is testing the knowledge on the Constitution of Kenya. What do you know about the Constitution of Kenya, right? So I have summarized it like this. Choice A, B, and C are true about the Constitution of Kenya. We shall look at it again. So because we are saying that the Constitution has 18 chapters that outline all that people of Kenya want to happen, right? What do you want in the national government and in the county government? All this information is contained in the Constitution. And these ones have been explained or broken down in choice A, B, and C, all right? All that has been explained there, except one, which is choice D. Choice D says it is a document that contains all laws made by the parliament. So we are saying this is false because parliament makes very many laws, all right? But they are not contained in one document. Okay? I hope you understand that. MPs make laws almost every other day. But every law is made differently for something special. So that one, if it is made, it is written, inawekwa kando, right? Another law is made, it is put aside. Another law is made, put aside. So all these ones are not the Constitution of Kenya, all right? So that's what the statement says, that all the laws in Kenya have been put in one document, all right, called the Constitution of Kenya. That is not correct. Are we together? So if you go to our question, like I said, the first three, A, B, and C are true. All this information is in the Constitution of Kenya. The Constitution of Kenya states the powers and functions of the government. The Constitution of Kenya puts together the rules governing the country. Okay? The Constitution of Kenya outlines the structure of the government. All this information is there in the Constitution of Kenya, except that one, which is not true, like what I've explained. So our answer will be, it is a document that contains all laws made by Parliament. Okay? So this one, you need to think about it, the way you approach that question. Always think carefully before you attempt this type of question. Questions with long statements, always read them carefully. Question 5 is also a long one. Which one of the following groups of conditions must a county assembly candidate fulfill in order to be elected? Right? You have A, B, C, and D. A, I read very fast, must be a Kenyan citizen of 18 years old, must be a member of a registered party, must be a public officer. That is A. So this one you need to think about it. B, must be a Kenyan citizen over 21 years old, must be a registered voter in the ward of interest, must have a national identity card. That is B. C, must be a Kenyan citizen, must be over 35 years old, must be a registered voter in the ward of interest, and finally D, must be 18 years old, must have a national ID, and then must be a registered voter in the ward of interest. This is a lot of information. You need to process it carefully, all right? So which one must a county assembly a candidate fulfill before they are allowed to campaign and be voted in? So it is a lot of information. Carefully look at it. I hope you have eliminated, you have looked at the keywords, eliminate, eliminate, eliminate. All right. So keywords is group of conditions must a county assembly candidate fulfill to be elected? All right? So all that is key before you answer the question. So like I've said, look at the meaning of what we mean by must. Must means it is necessary or you should do it. All right? It is necessary. If you're not able to do it, then you stop. Must is necessary. So a county assembly candidate is normally the one you call MCA. All right? In short, people normally call them MCA. This is the one representing a what? A ward in a constituency. And then the question is requiring you to have a knowledge on requirement before you become an MCA during a civic electoral process in Kenya. All right? The one you're calling the county assembly candidate. So A, we shall look at them later slowly. A, I'm saying is incorrect because of one of the conditions given there. We said must be a public official. We are saying that if you're a public official, that means you're a civil servant, maybe you're a teacher, then you should not be involved in vying to become a political leader. If you want to become a political leader, you must resign, all right? So that is not correct. Then I've said B is incorrect because of the minimum age, all right? So this one you look at the age. In B, we looked at age. And in C, we also looked at the age, right? The minimum age is 18 years and not 35 years. Minimum means the least. So if you're 18 years tomorrow and there are elections the day after, then you can vie for the position, all right? And not 35. You don't need to wait for 35 years. That's what I mean, okay? Then D, we are saying is the correct one because D has expressed all the conditions are required. So we go back to our question. Now we look at it. What do we mean by all this information? Which one of the following groups of conditions must a county assembly candidate fulfill in order to be elected? So we go back to the choices, to the options. A, must be 18 years, correct. B, must be a member of registered party, correct. Although there are some people who are independent candidates. But before you do become independent candidates, there are many conditions to fulfill. So if you are and then it's just one of them. Must be a public official, no. B, must be a Kenyan citizen over 21 years, no. We said 18 is the one, minimum. Must be a registered voter, yes. Must have ID, yes. C, must be a Kenyan citizen, yes. Must be over 35 years, no. Must be a registered voter, yes. Then D, our answer, must be 18 years, correct. Must have a national ID, is correct. Then must be a registered voter for you to become an MCA of a ward somewhere. So learners, today we have done quite a lot. We have done questions which require a lot of thinking. I hope I've guided you in eliminating and thinking process before you attempt the questions. They're not hard. If you really think them slowly, take your time, understand the question, the options given, and then slowly eliminate them, and then finally you will get the correct answer. So learners, until next time, we have come to the end of our lesson. It's bye for now until we meet again.
tonight on KBC Channel 1.
Badala ya kufanya udaku kama wasichana wadogo, fanya kitu ambacho unaelewa vizuri. Mazoezi.
But the way you and Aida have been acting.
Chana na hii binti. For once, take my advice. What are you afraid of?
Aira. So what? He meets his father.
I am back, Abasi. And this time I'm going to show you what I'm really made of.
Siko welcome hapa. Instead niambie kifu niambie. Ndio wewe, silence.
You're right telling him to choose. Maybe he should, for once in his life.
Next on
Another week, another show. Yeah, my advice to parents is that
Hello, dear viewer. This is Edu TV, and it is time for Analytical Chemistry with me, E.J. Washington. And I'm not alone. In studio, I have the certified working chemical. Mwalimu, karibu sana. Say hello to the viewer.
Hello, viewers. I'm your teacher, Teacher Thaddeus Baluka, your chemistry teacher and the ocean of chemistry. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Mwalimu. Mwalimu, yeah. I told you kwetu we mine rocks, eh?
Yeah.
I came with something. Leo nataka kuona hii chemistry yako mwalimu, eh? And you must help me, eh? This is a rock. Nimetoka kwa shamba langu. Yes? And I want us to prove, yeah, that this is copper. So na bado na ile nini ya katayon. How to normalize?
Exactly.
Bas.
Yes.
And you told me that it needs to be crushed.
Yes.
So I crushed a small bit. Unajua hii ni pesa mingi sana mwalimu, tutaenda ku waste hapa tukifanya testing.
Yeah.
But nataka we use this one to test if this my rock is copper.
You're very
Then I'm going to roll in millions, mwalimu. I'll be a millionaire. Now, these are hand over to you for the purpose of testing.
Yeah.
But hii wachana nayo. This one must stay with me.
I can see you learn that copper can be green.
No, let me put it here first.
Yeah.
But my eyes are watching it.
Yes, so it's very important.
Yes.
In fact, in our today's lesson,
yes,
like the other time we learned how to test for iron 2 ions,
yes,
which is also green like copper.
Yes.
And also copper can also have green or blue.
Okay.
Yeah, copper can be blue or green. And as well as you have said, you have come up with this.
So foremost, mwalimu, eh?
Yeah.
You know, this is. I don't want us to be mixed up, eh?
Yeah.
Na pia the dear viewer at home, usichanganyikiwe.
Yeah.
We are on a fresh page, and today we are testing for the presence of copper ion.
Copper 2 ions.
Copper 2 ions.
So copper 2 ions.
Yes.
Can be green in color. Or it can also be
blue in color.
Blue in color.
Mwalimu, hold that thought.
Yes.
I think the objective, the objective of this lesson is similar to the objective of the previous lesson, right?
Yeah.
That by the end of this lesson, the viewer should be able to know how to test for the presence or the absence of copper 2 ions.
Yes.
Right?
And be able to describe
yes,
a stepwise procedure
on
how to identify or rather confirm presence or absence of iron 2. Should be able to describe and also use that description he has described to now confirm,
deduce, conclude.
Yes, test. Using the pragmatic approach.
The pragmatic approach.
Yes.
The presence of copper 2 ions.
Yes.
Now, do we need different reagents on this one?
Yes, of course. We need dilute hydrochloric acid. Because this is a solid that we don't know.
It is right here.
Yes.
Okay.
We need sodium hydroxide, just
sodium
like that.
Sodium hydroxide is right here.
And aqueous ammonia.
Aqueous ammonia is still right here.
Yes, and of course we may also need as a highly reactive element, a more reactive element than copper. And in our case, I've used as a solid there in the name of, we have used magnesium powder. So we can use this magnesium to be able to carry out some displacement reaction.
Okay, we'll get to that.
Those are the chemicals.
Yes.
Then those are the chemicals we need to the apparatus. We simply need test tubes and test tube rack.
And test tube rack.
Yeah, because you have always to put test tubes in a test tube rack.
Definitely.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's all what you need.
All right.
Yeah.
So
and possibly you also need distilled water.
Distilled water.
A chemical.
Yeah, you told me. I remember that.
Yes.
So where do we begin?
We begin by looking at. First of all, you may need to light that burner.
Okay.
In case if you are analyzing this solid here.
Yes.
And it gives out some bubbles. So in case there's a gas that is being produced there, and we may need to carry out some tests for that. So we always start with the preliminary test.
Preliminary test.
Which is the initial test.
Okay.
So which is possibly you have already done the first one, which is the crushing.
The crushing.
After crushing and getting the green powder now, we can start by adding dilute hydrochloric acid.
Dilute.
So you can put it here.
Okay. Just put it right here.
We can use that, yeah.
Yes.
We have two of them, so we can use that.
Yes.
Then you just add dilute hydrochloric acid there.
I add in excess or in drops?
Just add more using because the drop might take a lot of time.
Okay.
Yes. So just a little bit.
All right.
So now you can see there are bubbles, eh?
Yeah, I can see
there are
bubbles.
So light a wooden splint so that once I had,
yes,
you can insert the wooden splint. You see what is the effect of the on the burning on the burning splint. So you can burning. Not,
I burn it.
Not
okay.
Burning, not glowing.
All right.
So what is happening?
It goes off.
It is extinguished.
Yes.
I can still add more.
Okay. Yes. My wooden splint is here. It's burning. The runner can see.
So
if I insert it, it is extinguished instantly. Is that part of the preliminary tests?
Yes. That now, first of all,
yes,
you can be told after adding an acid.
Yes.
So when you add an acid, we have what you call the expectation. We have what you call the expectation. We have seen now there is no more bubbles. It means if you're adding there are no more effervescence or bubbles, it means now the reaction is complete because you can see after adding more of the acid dropwise.
Yes.
You're not seeing more bubbles.
No more bubbles.
So the reaction is complete.
Okay.
So now we start by looking at now. We have got the solid. We have added.
Yes.
And of course, you can still even repeat using this one.
The same one.
You can just add so that if for a viewer would not see, they can be able. What is that? So there are bubbles. Yeah, those are bubbles. You can even repeat using a wooden splint.
Give me one.
A burning splint.
Yes.
Not wooden.
A burning wooden splint.
Yeah. So good.
Extinguished.
Exactly. So there's something that I want the viewer to be able to understand.
Yes.
So what have we seen after adding HCl? After adding hydrochloric acid, what are the observations? Observation is everything in chemistry.
Yes.
The observation.
Yes.
That we are able to see here. There are bubbles.
There are bubbles.
You can say bubbles of a colorless gas. So bubbles of a gas.
Bubbles of a colorless gas.
Yeah.
Okay.
That extinguishes. That extinguishes, or rather put out. That extinguishes a burning splint.
A burning splint.
Extinguishing.
Yes.
A burning splint, or rather put out.
Yes.
Of course, many books and people use put off.
Put off.
But put off is not the correct English.
Yes.
It is to be put out, or rather extinguished.
But do you know why I like you?
Yeah.
You teach more than chemistry. You even teach correct grammatic, scientific grammar.
It is also sometimes marked by the correct word is either put out.
Yes.
Or
extinguish.
Because when you say put off, it's like you are postponing.
No. For my viewers and learn at home, let's stick with extinguish. It's something you will not forget, right? Yeah. Extinguish.
In such kind of a scenario, you have also identified now a particular another an ion present, not a cation now. These are radical now, and this confirms the fact that it has extinguished a burning spleen. Confirms presence of carbonate ions. Yeah, because the only gas that extinguishes a burning spleen is carbon dioxide by convention. Yeah, that is the So that when you look like that, that's the first preliminary test. We have also identified another ion because this is a copper compound.
That's a copper compound.
So this now will be a ore of copper, or rather a compound of copper, which is copper carbonate. Yes.
So my stone, if it is copper, it will be copper carbonate.
Copper carbonate.
Because we've confirmed the presence
and
of.
Also there's also another observation.
Yes.
Which one? What is the color of that solution?
The solution is blue.
That is green, not blue.
Mwalimu. Oh yes. This is green. You know, Mwalimu, I told you. And just if I may ask, how do you handle those students or those learners who are suffering from color impartiality?
So those students with who are possibly colorblind, or are not.
We call it color impartiality.
Yeah, they are not possibly. What we also have that term in biology.
Okay.
You cannot differentiate colors.
Yes.
Like the way you are saying you're not. This is blue when it's green.
No.
That a disease called the colorblind.
I did that intentional for their sake. You know, I love them. I love all my viewers. Those who are color.
I just want to show you something. I just want to show you. You know, both of them are green. Eh?
Yes.
Can you add excess of HCl here on this on the left?
Okay.
Yeah.
My dear viewer, it's you I love. Actually, this show is not about me, eh? It's not about my.
You know,
it's about you.
And it's not witchcraft. It is something that you can be able to see. Continue adding.
I continue adding.
Yeah.
Good.
Continue adding.
If I continue adding.
Yeah, maybe we can simply reduce it.
Yes.
Maybe because we have more of that, because we still have it here.
Okay.
So we still have this.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's not excess. Eh?
Yes.
So we can just add more of HCl there.
Okay.
Or simply we can add water. Just add water.
Okay.
Just diluted water.
My dear viewer, the questions I ask Mwalimu are not for me. I ask them for your sake, you know.
So can you shake now?
I shake this one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, what is the color now? That's now blue.
My dear viewer, this is now blue. Eh? The previous one was green. But this one is now blue.
It's now blue?
Yes.
Because I remember I said,
yes,
copper can be green or blue.
Wait. Let me just. Mwalimu, you are correct.
Yeah.
You are correct.
Yes.
The first one was green.
Yeah.
This one is now blue.
Yes.
Okay.
But we'll be able to understand more.
Okay.
So that's the concept is like copper can be blue or green depending on the concentration. You see, this one we have added a lot of water. So that has interfered a little bit with the concentration. And you can be able to see now it is giving you the blue color. The blue color. So now let's use the other one. We can simply dilute it a little bit.
Okay. Do we still need the Bunsen burner?
Yeah.
Do you still need the burner, or I can put it?
We don't need it now. We don't
put
need
it out.
Yeah, we don't need it now.
Okay.
So that kind of a scenario. Now we can use our green one.
Yes.
So now we can just divide it to several portions.
Several portions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Magnetic.
Like 4 of them.
But
you can just remain with some. Yeah.
Okay. That will be portion number 1.
So you remember that's why I said green can be the color of iron 2 or copper 2 ions.
Yes.
But now if for the iron 2, even if you dilute, it will not going to change color.
It will remain with the same color.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's enough. We can just put it somewhere. So just put it there. So now the first one, we add sodium hydroxide. Dropper is still in excess.
The first one?
Yeah.
I add sodium hydroxide.
Yes.
Still in excess.
Yeah, just add a few drops there.
Okay. The first one, I'll use this as the first one.
Yeah.
So that I just add sodium hydroxide. And I want also to observe.
We have sodium hydroxide here. In fact, we can just
use this one.
This one is the best for. This one is called an eyedropper bottle.
Eyedropper bottle.
For adding dropwise. You don't need a dropper.
So if you're told to add dropwise until excess, you can either use a dropper
or eyedropper.
Yeah. Let me go for the eyedropper.
Yeah.
Yes.
It is better.
Dropwise.
Yeah.
Until in excess.
Continue. Simply just check a little bit. So you see what are you able to see?
I'm seeing a precipitate forming.
That is a blue precipitate.
I think, Mwalimu,
Yeah.
for the purposes of color,
Yeah.
let's use the white rack,
Yeah.
so that this other rack here
Yes.
doesn't reflect
because this is
the color.
blue also.
Yes, it's okay.
Yeah.
So, my dear viewer, allow me to use this. Good, wonderful.
Just add more.
So I add more,
Yeah,
so that the viewer
there's
can also
drop.
see very well.
Yeah. So shake. So that's a blue precipitate.
This is a blue precipitate.
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
So you can be able to get that. Shake. Yeah, that's a blue precipitate.
Yes.
Yeah, blue precipitate. That is insoluble in excess.
It is. It does, regardless of how.
Yes,
how hard
the
I
only thing
shake.
that now when you are adding it a little bit, remember green is very close to blue.
Yes.
So that's why like the first one you're saying like it's a little bit green. It's because of that issue of that the pale, that is a pale blue. Which is more.
Kumbe ulijua na unanikaranga tu mwalimu.
Yes, I could see you are a little bit disturbed. Finally, when you had the blue color comes out clearly. That's a blue precipitation.
And I love blue color myself.
You can see it's like some like a porridge.
Like a porridge.
It's not becoming a porridge. It is simply that's a precipitate.
That's a precipitate.
Yeah, it is forming an insoluble. So that is now the copper hydroxide.
Okay.
Yes.
Is there any conclusion we can make up
Now
that
from
point?
there?
Yes. Let me help you.
We have the blue solution.
Yes.
Yeah, it was green.
Yeah, the original one was green.
Yeah,
this
the
one
green
here was
solution,
green.
yeah.
Yes.
The green solution.
Let me bring it back here. Yes.
The green solution contains iron, copper 2 ions.
Yes, this is the green solution Malia
Or
is referring
it can
to.
also contain copper 2 ions because green indicates both of them.
Okay.
So on adding sodium hydroxide, we have got what we call a blue
precipitate.
A blue precipitate.
Yes.
Which is insoluble
in excess.
Which is insoluble in excess.
My dear viewer, don't forget that. Please, it is very important whenever you're writing your observation.
A blue precipitate which is insoluble in excess.
In excess, right.
So I'm adding that. So that blue, it can be either, that now we now confirm it is copper 2 ions. Only copper 2 ions are blue.
So now that eliminates
the
iron too.
Yes. No, now we confirm that is now copper 2 ion because it's blue.
Yes.
And it's insoluble. Remember what I said, when you add sodium hydroxide, mention the effect of adding dropwise and also in excess. And also you also tell us the color.
The color
of the precipitate. If any.
Oh, there are others that don't have colors.
Yes.
Are these ones what we call color
There are
diamonds?
some instances that whereby when you add sodium hydroxide there will be no precipitate.
Okay.
So you just say there is no precipitate.
Okay.
But we'll come to that.
Okay.
We'll come to that.
What's an
So to the second portion, add aqueous ammonia. And that's why now you need to be very careful. Aqueous ammonia, you use an eyedropper.
Okay.
Dropwise still in excess.
Dropwise still in excess.
Yes.
And you guide me mwalimu,
Yeah.
usiache